Hello and welcome to Nightmares of Future Past. I am your host, lluksblackheart. To recap what we are doing in today's episode is we are going over character maintenance. That way the characters can advance forward in what they can develop, and hopefully we can fix several of the problems that may or may not have occurred throughout the first season and make the second season so much better. And we will be recapping over what they have and how we can fix it to make it better. This during the maintenance period isn't simply just they fall asleep and wake up. This is technically in game terms, it's at least technically a week or so of intermission of where they're fixing things. But to start us off, we do have a new hero that will hopefully be able to join us on future episodes. If you would please introduce yourself, good sir.
My name is Blunt. Um, I'm in a battle suit that I guess I got from my family. So I'm kind of new to this, so bear with me about speaking.
Well,
But I'm looking.
any introduction is a good
Go ahead.
introduction. Uh, does We're all currently new to this scene.
Yeah.
But I do look forward to great things. For there is
Oh, I
greatness
do
in the
too.
future. The first character
Well,
does
I'm looking forward to it.
yeah, go in a sequence of who appears first in the archetypes. So we are going to be going over everyone's favorite psychic because. Oh wait, I may have skipped someone. Oh no, never mind. It's not the psychic. It's a gadgeteer. I've swept the pages for some silly reason.
I want my hornet.
Oh, trust me,
What
we will.
Hornet?
I want my hornet. I want my hornet. I do not care. That thing is mine. I do
Well,
not care.
um, to recap over everything, because the Christmas holiday gift thing was free 15 ranks in equipment, which will help pay for the Hornet, which I need to actually bring up the Hornet. Because I managed to not bring that up, so that way we can verify how much the Hornet actually cost. Does it cost 112 equipment points? Now, luckily for you, the gift over the Christmas stuff was 15 free equipment points, which did help you pay for 75 out of the needed 125. Now, luckily for you, Almighty Lynx, there is 36 spendable power points, which for the we do the simple math, my brain doesn't want to work. You need to spend 8 points to get that equipment, which we simply put that there. And voila, you now have access to the Hornet.
Yeah.
Uh, which something we can also go into correcting and fixing. I heard a noise. Okay, not a bad noise. There is 2 points left of equipment, which means we get to go to the actual equipment and get you a few well, not points, but a few free gadgets that can help ease certain problematic things with things while it's fixing something in the past or fixing something now. Because there is a shortage of yes, cat, I see you, I love you. I'm about ready to be mauled by a cat.
As you should be.
Or maybe not, because now she's walking away from me. Because
Aw.
I got
It's so nice to know that Captain Sewer has companions.
Yes.
Well, of course I have companions in my mighty sewer. Have you seen the size of my rats? No, but to help with a few things, you can officially get your own comlink, which means you no longer have to borrow one. So that's good.
So we don't use semaphore flags or anything for communications?
Your 4 flags?
Yeah, semaphore. Like they do on the ships?
No.
Yeah, no, we're not.
No.
We're
No.
not flags.
Oh, okay. I remember him telling me about a boat, so I just kind of figured we had to use that type of communication.
No, we have comms.
Mm.
Flag.
No, but no, just no.
No.
High tech, not World War One.
No,
Actually, it's pre-World War One.
No.
No, but it also means you can get yourself your own personal multi-tool. So you don't have to borrow that one while also being a bit more efficient.
Oh, can I get the incapacitate mode on my blaster now?
Pretty much stealing that from the Hive Stinger.
Because I was sick. Because I was.
Yeah, you were
searching
researching
that.
and trying to properly develop that for things. I actually have to pull up the Hive Stinger. Because the computer doesn't want me to do. Navi, stop itching. Does the Hive Stinger you stole and were developing, you're attempting to steal the
incapacitate mode.
Yeah, the affliction that boom. This is considered a alternate effect that's being put on your blaster. Which, what that means is you have to declare that you're switching to the that mode. And because it's an alternate effect, it is only costing you 1 whole point.
But for her today, it could only go for 2 points, right?
Nice try.
What?
Nice try.
Die strike. Okay.
I'm just double checking something real quick. Trying to do math to make sure I got everything correctly. 4 points. 45. 55. 15. Yep. It does that. Okay. Does it is easily let's list it as this, which means I have to go here to make sure. Gotta love how some things are listed as certain things. Because if I'm correct, this is going to be funny. Okay,
Oh, there's a puppy dog down at the bottom.
5, 10, 15, 20.
Kira's here.
5, 10, 15, 20. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Do you know how I can know that the people who wrote this up don't actually know how to do math? This is gonna be funny. Ren, because you're a super math genius. What's 24 divided by 5?
4 with 4 left, 5 with 4 left. No, yeah, 4 with 4 left over.
Yeah.
24 divided by 5
So
is
Is
4.8.
yeah. So when you have a ruling that says you subtract a certain number of points for every 5 points, and it literally means for every 5 points, not close to it. So for instance, if I were to say for every 5 points you have in this, you remove 2 points off the total cost. So a 24 point thing should have a minus 8 to it, because it only does in degrees of 5. Correct?
if you're using that as a condition, yes.
Yeah.
Because that would be
Yeah, it should be minus 8 because it's not supposed to count the 4 because it's not a 5 because it only does in degrees of 5.
Yeah,
The
so you
book
would
counted
take 2 away
something.
4 times.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah. The book counted the 24 as a 25.
you gotta remember the people that write these books. A lot of time they do the new math, which isn't accurate. Was it SPD, RD, or whatever it is?
PINDOS. It's
PINDOS,
accurate
yeah,
if
PINDOS,
you're doing it one way, but not if you're doing it.
the correct way.
It doesn't matter which way you spend it. It boom. But that's fully corrected. And a dog decided to leave the room even though it was supposed to. So now you got the affliction that is resisted by fortitude. And because that normally Following to make sure I got the correct DC for you. Gonna have to do something real quick because a dog is being annoying. Navi! No, she likes to just go randomly bark for no reason. It's like, there's no one here. Why are you barking?
I remember those days.
Okay, just making sure I am not cheating for anyone or unneedlessly putting them. On affliction effect is normally this. Double checking to see if there's any unnecessarily add-ons they wanted to add on it because it's nope. It is technically being switched to ranged, which does adjust it by at least double checking a point. Because again, not trying to screw this up. Yeah, it's only one. This means because it goes off of the normal scoring for the blaster. The rank can have 10 points put in, well, not 10, but it goes off of that. And because it's maxed out, I got excellent news. Since it's normally 2 points per rank, it technically has 24 points to work off of, but the maximum cannot exceed for an affliction your power level. It means for that 20 points there, you get to have a 10 in your affliction, which means whenever you shoot something with that setting, they have to beat a fortitude DC of 20.
Oh, that's wow. Okay.
Yeah. Which there is 4 leftover points that it can play with. Which, if we go to all the way to afflictions, there might be a way to somewhat make it better. There is technically 2 ways to make it better, but the overall rank in it will drop. Now, before you think that's a terrible thing, these 2 things are really great. Because it'll drop it from, it will take a hit. Both these things do not need to be applied to make it good. One of them will help, but you don't need these. So this is totally up to you. The first one is called Clumative. Well, Clumative. It's
Cumulative?
where, yeah. It's where if a bad guy fails by 1 degree on turn 1, and then you shoot them again on turn 2, and they fail by only 1 degree again, because it's cumulative, they automatically advance by 1 degree, even though they only failed once the second time. So it means all you have to do is get them to fail 3 separate die rolls, and you can have them incapacitated.
Oh wow.
So it just requires you to hit them a lot. That will increase it from a 2 per rank to a 3 per rank, which will make it 8 ranks, which makes it a DC 18. So it is losing some of its ranking, but then again, you're not necessarily super concerned because, again, it's cumulative. So therefore, the more times they fail by 1 degree, the more times you have a chance of having it actually work. The second thing is progressive. What that means is if they fail once, automatically on their next turn, they have to roll again. And they keep rolling until they pass. This particular add-on increases it by 2 whole points. Which means if you have both the cumulative and the progressive, all you have to do is get them to fail one roll. And then you just sit back and relax, because next time they roll, they have to pass, or they automatically drop without you having to hit them. It also means until something shows up to remove that stinger, or pretty much remove the effect, they kind of just will end up staying incapacitated until someone is able to remove that condition. Having both the effects will increase it from a 2 per rank to a 5 per rank, which means you can only have rank 4, which is a DC 14. So it does make the DC easier to pass, but it's also one of those, you just have to hit them once. Well, not hit them once, but you just have to get them to fail once, and then it has a possibility to start them down the line to failing again.
You have the possibility to stun lock them. However, that just means that Lux will be throwing extra enemies at us.
Well, it just means that you have to watch out what you're trying to stun, because there's some creatures, like for instance, like that big robot you guys fought in the season finale, that's not affected by things like this. So you can't stun lock a robot.
No, and I don't think she expected to. But it's the minions with the dice bot.
But it is one of those things that we could go this route. So you're not only having a third setting to your blaster, but the third setting becomes more potent simply because you can turn it into a fire and forget scenario. And I would also like to remind you, we don't have to do that. We can keep it at 10. And then we can, during the end of the second season, when we do maintenance, we can fix and adjust it then. Because at that point, that's where we would be adding, removing, and correcting things, because that would be the maintenance. So you don't have to. You can keep it as is, which a DC 20 isn't something to laugh about. So like I said, we can just come back to that during next maintenance period. And we can move on to enhancing and or adding another thing.
Yeah, maybe next time.
Yeah. Okay, your shield needs no correcting, because it's perfect. There's no real way to actually make it better. Well, at least not without you getting a drastic increase in power level. You could spend... how many did I say you have it in? Because you only spent 9 points. Yeah, because you're at 36.
I believe you said number 4 left.
Yeah, 9. There's just 1 point to add that affliction and 8 points to add the equipment. So right now we're at 27, so you still have plenty of points. We could have your jetpack get modified further to put it from rank 5 to rank 10. It doesn't have to go to rank 10. But that's if you want to fly faster. But you also have to remember that you do have access to the Mac, or the Hornet as it's going to be referred to now. which pretty much
Can
means,
I
in a
use it
nutshell,
to make an extra jetpack for Shiro?
when it comes time to
I said I was gonna do that.
maintenance to go to him, we would go. Well, he would have to spend the, because that's counted. It counts as a device that would take up his points, not yours.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Just with the Mac, because you can set it to hover and just fly off of it to fly up and down on places, or just land it to get close to where you need to go. You don't actually need to put your flight higher than that, because the Mac has a flight of 12. So it flies at its move action to 16 miles. So it's like you can still use, because of that, you can just set it to hover up in the air and you just jet back down. So we don't.
Is there any way for her?
Yeah.
Is there any way for her to be able um, to control the Hornet with her brainwaves so that it can help out
Brainwaves?
in?
No. I can permit her to use her comm to either call it to her or send it back to base. Otherwise, there needs to be a dedicated terminal at a set location. As in, the
Okay.
base ends up getting a terminal built in that permits her to be at the base and still control it. Otherwise, all I can
Okay.
permit her to do is go, come to me, or return to home, and that's not going to
Okay.
cost
I
her
thought that
anything.
we were a little more high tech than that, but okay.
Well, brainwave stuff is a little bit more complicated than that, because you also have to remember there may be entities within the world of DC that have weird mind control abilities or equipment that let them control machines and stuff. You guys aren't those entities, and you have to work with what you have access to. She's brilliant. She may be playing a brilliant character with intellect of 10, but when it comes to a device that lets her fully, completely operate the Hornet from a remote location, it needs to be either dedicated at a base, or it's not just some random headpiece she wears or anything like that, but she has a dedicated controller where all her focus goes onto it, which means when she's in the field trying to do it, she becomes vulnerable to any form of ambush. Not to mention the fact that radio waves between her and the Hornet could not only be traced, but interfered with. Which means if Hive starts to make a resurgence back in later seasons, it means that Hive can go, hey, that's one of our old models. It's being remotely controlled. Oh, hey, we're going to remote hack it and take it from her. A big thing is to try to minimize as much of that shenanigans as possible. Just because it is highly unlikely that it happens doesn't mean it can't happen. But that takes a dedicated device. Super dedicated. Do. Sometimes I hate this thing. But nonetheless, you do not need to make yourself faster with the jetpack, because you can use the Hornet to get where you want to go, while using a jetpack to pretty much get to the ground and then back up. Unless you want a faster jetpack. Do you want a faster jetpack? And she's muted. Okay.
No. No, let's leave the jetpack.
Leave the jetpack alone.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
Boom,
leave
boom.
jetpack as is.
Okay, your defenses are at their maximum they can be until you, oh. Haha. Your fortitude is not at the max, which means you can either put 3 points into fortitude to turn it into a 10, or 3 points into will to turn it to a 13. So it's a toss-up between resist physical effects, such as poisons, disease, and toxins, or mental effects, so that way if someone pops up to do mind control on you, you have a better chance at resisting it. But that is up to you. You. What else can be fixed besides that?
Only you.
um,
Amazing world.
you're not helping.
I'm
Ooh, I
not.
want to double check how much this costs, because there could be something that. Well, no, that's gonna cost too much. Besides fixing, well, not necessarily fixing, but besides raising either your fortitude or your will, there's several advantages that you could take that will possibly make you a wee bit better in certain circumstances. For instance, there's accurate attack, where you trade DC effect for accuracy, so like your damage will go down, but you have an easier time hitting. All-out attack, where you trade active defense bonus for better accuracy, so you become easier to hit, but you can hit more easily. Assessment, where you use insight to learn about opponent's combat abilities. You don't do close combat. There's defensive attack, where you trade attack bonus for active defense. So you drop your attack in order to better defend yourself. You have that. You have that. There's evasion, which there's two steps to evasion. If you have evasion once, you get a +2 circumstance bonus to avoid AoE effects. If you have 2 ranks into it, it becomes a +5. So for some weird reason, someone puts like tosses a grenade at you, or a magic user pops up and goes fireball. You have an easier time dodging the effect, so you reduce the active damage on it. What's else gonna be good? You can take hide in plain sight, which lets you hide while being observed. You could take improved critical several times, so that way your blaster has a greater range of damaging things. Improved initiative, which each rank increases your initiative by 1. You don't really need it. Don't really worry about that. There's luck, that lets you re-roll a die once per rank per game session. There's a really good one called move by action that several other party members have been utilizing, where you get to move and attack and then finish the rest of your movement. Power attack that you trade. You decrease your accuracy to increase the effect rank. Precise attack. That can be taken twice, and that will be countered range cover and range concealment, which means as long as you see part of them, you can boom. It's a wrist blaster, so you don't need that. You're already at the maximum, so you don't technically need that. Do you want my advice on the advantages?
Yeah.
Technically, because there's combos to be pulled off, because advantages can be used in junction with each other as long as they're not directly posed, like how power attack, you decrease your attack to increase the effect bonus, but accurate attack, where you lower the effects DC to increase your attack bonus. Those two, the exact opposite thing, where you lower one to increase the other. Those two counteract each other. So you can still have both of them, which I will recommend you have both of them. Doesn't mean you have different types of attacks, but it also means you can take power attack and 5 more ranks in the range attack attribute. And what that means is because thing that a lot of people confuse is circumstances. Bonuses can be, well, bonuses or minuses can be technically negated, so you're still technically following the rules of this plus this cannot equal double this, because you're still following it because that's the normal effect. But circumstances means we can put 5 ranks in range attack, take power attack, and the -5 you normally get for doing power attack is negated by the 5 additional ranks in range attack, which means your to hit does not suffer, but the effects DC still goes up by 5. Because you're still following the rules, because this is a circumstance. It's circumstances are doing this for you. And you can do similar things with a lot of your other attacks. So do you want me to go ahead and adjust that for you?
Sure.
Just take that. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Marking this here because I'm keeping track.
Also, I think let's go with fortitude. Because there's been a lot of that.
Okay, I'm gonna do math real quick, but you have the the range attack adjusted, and those attributes there. Still take that because it's boom. Okay, those. Oh, God, play hell. Hey, Darktide, can you mute your TV, please?
I thought my volume was down.
Now we can hear
Yeah,
it.
we could hear it.
Okay.
Okay, just when I send you a new sheet, you're going to need to know some of these are. Some of the things under attacks are this abbreviated PA for power attack, AOA for all out attack, AA for accurate attack. And they're somewhat summarized in taking a minus from one thing to give a bonus to another thing. But because of the range attack bonus, power attack does not have a -5. It has a 0 modifier. So you pretty much just add 5 to whatever the attack is. Which, technically speaking, if you want to get uber technical, that can be applied to also the affliction. So no matter what setting you're added on, you can do a power attack, which won't affect the accuracy, but immediately give +5 to the DC. The all-out attack increases your attack by 5, but unfortunately drops your defense by 5, so you become slightly easier to hit at the cost of being able to hit. It sounds worse than what it is. Accurate attack increases attack but decreases the DC effect, so you cannot use it in conjunction with power attack. But you could do a all-out power attack, so you'll end up getting overall +5 to hit and a +5 to damage, or a all-out accurate attack, which will give you a +10 to hit, but the DC suffers by 5 and your defense stumbles by 5. And you still have points left to spend. So now you have different attack options. So instead of just shoot, daze, or shoot, daze, or
Dazzle.
afflict. Yeah, damage, dazzle, or affliction. You can alter them by either having a higher chance of hitting, or raising or lowering the DC effect.
Okay.
You can also do the move by action now, and you ignore both range cover and range concealment, which means if you see them, you technically, unless noted otherwise, can hit them. You can take Minion 2. This Minion 1 is for melee. Not Minion. Takedown. Takedown 1 and Takedown 2. Takedown 1 is for countering minions while in melee, while Takedown 2 lets you do it with ranged attacks. Are you okay with taking that?
Yeah.
It means you get to pop one, and if he drops, it means you get to pop another one. And as long as it's adjacent, and actually adjacent to that one, you kind of, it's like having cleave. You still have points left.
What about the hiding in plain sight one?
We can have you take hide in plain sight. That is a good one.
And the one that you said about like figuring out the opponent's stuff.
Assessment. That's another good one. That means we're going to go down to your skills, because assessment requires you to have a really good insight. The better the boom. Hide in plain sight requires you to have a better stealth. Which, because of everything, and let me double check, you can technically have enough points because you have nothing in stealth. So let's fix that by putting 5 points into stealth, which turns it into a plus 10 because skills are 2 for 1.
No one is sucking at stealth.
Now you're not, because instead of having a 2, you now have a 12. Which you still have 4 points to play with, which I'm going to, because your technology is already maxed. Because you plan on using the Hornet this season, even though your vehicle is a plus 8, which is good, I'm going to recommend we put put a point into that. Putting a point into insight, so that way you can have slightly better insight. And that'll be 1 point, 2 points. And with the remaining 2 points, either we can make your stealth even better, or we can either put them also into insight to make your insight even better, or into your investigation, so that way when you do an investigation check, you are more guaranteed to actually pass that check without having to worry about rolling high.
That's what the last guy said.
Do you just want to go with my recommendations?
Yeah.
So we're going to put 1 point here, which turns that into a 7. 1 point here, which turns that into a 7. So now you have a 12 inside and a 10 vehicles, which helps you out. Boom. We want to put 1 point to here, which means now you have a 16 investigation. And let's go ahead and just put this into perception, which turns that into that. And we're done. So to recap over everything, your defenses, your fortitude's now a 10, so now you have a better chance of shrugging off all of that. Your blaster now has a third setting, which is affliction, which your bases are still a plus 8 to hit, a damage of 27, a dazzle of 22, and a affliction of 20. But because you have options of power attack, all out attack, and accurate attack, you can raise the damage effect, or the DC effect of either of these settings by 5. So if you really, really want to make sure they get afflicted and disabled, you can turn that 20 into a 25, or a dazzle to blind them to a 27. Or if you flat out want to make sure they go down, turn that 27 into a 32, so your damage can be really out there. If you want to increase accuracy, you can lower your defense, which makes you easier to hit, but again, it has to do 5 or more points of damage and be quite high, because you have a 12 toughness, so you can technically afford that. If you want to increase the accuracy further, you can do accurate attack, but that lowers the DC, which unfortunately counters the power attack, so you can't power attack and accurate attack because they don't work together. So which technically means you can do an all-out power attack to be rolling with 13s and get additional +5 to whatever the DC to the setting you use. Or you can be swinging with an 18, but with become easier to hit and unfortunately have a lower setting. But again, a 18 to hit is probably going to hit whatever it is, so you just keep that up and boom. You can assessment, which as your turn you can roll an insight, which is a +12 to see what you can, what certain abilities opponent may or may not have. The longer combat goes before using that, or if you use it a second time after combat goes a while, you can better assess them. You do have move by action now, so you can move, attack, and then move again, so you can do flyby attacks, which is good. You ignore range, cover, and concealments, and if they're minions, you can start to take down more than one a turn. But you are officially... Save that. You are officially done and ready for Season 2.
Yay!
So, we've pretty much tripled your attack options by the advantages and the new thing. Made you a little bit more sturdy.
I got my Hornet.
Oh, yeah, I have to go over the Hornet. Fly 12, which is great. That's when you roll for the Hornet's defenses, you use its defense, not yours. It's hard to hit. It has a +16 to dodge and parry.
Nice.
And because you use its toughness, not yours, it has a +10 toughness. So not only is it hard to hit, it's quite sturdy. The cannons... I might have to pause for a moment. But the cannons does use your power level, but you don't have to worry about any of that weirdness because it has accurate 5, which means you get a +10 to hitting with it, and it does a damage 10. Yes, you can use the power attack, all-out attack, and accurate attack with it to adjust its to hits. It also has the multi-attack feature, so you can target more than one target or just focus fire on one. While in it, it does have life support, so you're perfectly fine as long as you stay in it. It does have extremely long-range communication system, meaning while you're in it, you can use it to communicate with pretty much the entire party. It does have dark vision.
Ooh.
It does have direction sense, so you always know what direction is, and getting lost with its hard. Distance sense, so you know how far something really is. And it also has extended vision, so you can see quite far away. So it has like just really good visuals. It has low light vision, and it also has a radar. So that, if someone trying to sneak up on you has to try either A, have some form of counter audio concealment, or you just have to pretty much be oblivious. But the Hornet is technically now fully operational and ready for you to fly. And like I said before, you can use your comm link to call it to you or send it back to base. You just have to remember that it's in a single turn it can fly 16 miles, so it can relatively get to anywhere you need to go relatively quickly. Because those playing at home that go like, oh, that doesn't sound too fast, 16 miles in one turn, that is the equivalent of 8,000 miles an hour. So if you think traveling 8,000 miles in an hour isn't very fast, well, you need to remember that most cars that you drive on a day-to-day base don't breach 100 because they're not exposed to. Unless you're in some sort of fancy car, like one of us I know has, that could possibly go that fast, or even faster. But good luck finding a stretch of road that doesn't have traffic on it that you can actually put the metal, pretty much put the pedal to the metal. But it is, like I said, it is extremely fast. And 100% safe. Because who doesn't want to put it? So I'm going to save that, exit that. So you are done. Next in the list, because we do not have a martial artist, a mimic, or a mystic. Switching pages. We do not have a paragon, powerhouse. Psychic. Everyone's favorite psychic.
Hi.
You, due to life, liberty, and your pursuit of happiness, have 22 points you've managed to get this season from what episodes you've come in on. And let's see what we need to technically try to adjust for you. Does the say the defenses are all at their maximum they could possibly be? Your mental blast is already at its cap, because that goes off of all that, and that technically, without breaking the rules, can't make that any better. Unfortunately. You... We can adjust and, make your, because we did talk about this, but we didn't overly verify anything. We could adjust and make your telekinesis, which is your move object, a lot better. Because it's at rank 8 with accuracy 4, which is one of the reasons why you have a plus 10 with it. There is several attributes we could go into add-ons now that we could add to it to, as I skip all the way past where I wanted to go, because why wouldn't I? Just go to move object itself to verify move object. This we could add the for this it's only rank 8 for 8 additional points. We could add damaging, which means when you successfully grab someone with your move object, they also then have to make a toughness check versus the damage rating on it.
Would that stop me from being able to carry Shiro around?
No, because technically you can decide if you're actually trying to damage them or not. So if you're not trying to harm them, you're just picking them up. But in combat, instead of just,
Okay.
I'm holding you, it's, I'm actually hurting you. That way you can feel more. There are some of the fights where you can
Slightly more
really,
useful.
yeah. Yeah, so you can feel more useful other than just I'm holding him. Does that also means because it's a attack you have to hit with, the DC isn't 18, it's 23. So when you roll your plus 10 to hit, does you hit them, technically it's a plus 8 grab to grab them and a toughness check. So you can thwack them and grab them. The other add-on that could possibly not only make you feel more combat savvy, but make you feel effective is multi-attack. What that does is it lets you either single target, because this is an attack, single target to potentially increase your effect, or lets you target more than one person a turn. And it will cost you another 8 points.
What about grabbing more than one thing at a time?
That's what multi-attack will let you do.
Okay.
Because it'll let you not only damage, but you can go, hey, look, there's 5 people. I want to grab all 5.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
Typing down multi-attack, which does increase it by another 8 points. So that's 8 and 8. Which means out of the 22 points you had, there's only 6 points left, which means there's not really much to try to do it further. That's now an expensive power. When it comes to attributes, there's probably a few attributes you could probably take. Just double checking to make sure that they're good. Well, I know move by action could be one of them. Does that will let you be able to move, attack, and then move, keep on moving. That only costs you 1 point. Do you want to take it?
Yeah.
That way you're not left out. Let's race down to skills real quick to see what... Okay. Well, you other than insight, your skills... Well, insight and perception and persuasion. There's insight is 12, so it's your perception, and your persuasion is also 11. Uh,
After last game, I kind of want hide in plain sight, but I don't know if that's an option for me.
well, your stealth is a 1. You have 5 points left, so we can't take hide in plain sight. But then the remaining points would have to go into stealth, so that way you actually have a stealth score. So that way you're not just spending a point somewhere with a skill that you don't have very much in. Because we can do that.
All right, well, let me hear my other options, but I might go with that.
Uh, until we can correctly establish a bona fide healer, you could put stuff into treatment. But now now you mention it, having a better stealth I find appealing. Because your only other option is to put stuff into investigation. So, Lynx isn't the only one with doing it. Just right now, you only have a total of 6. Dumping pretty much not all of them, because you won't need to put all of them, but dumping 4 out of the remainder 5 into perception to increase your perception to a 20, which means not that many things are going to be able to get by you. So the options are, we can turn your treatment from a 2 to a 12, so that way you can properly start making sure people get the treatments they need. Or we can turn your stealth from a 1 to a 8, not 1 out of 8, but a 1 to a 9. There's one rank would have to go and hide in plain sight. So that way you can hide while being observed and actually have an actual stealth. Or we can dump most of it into perception. So again, next to nothing's going to get by you, because with a perception of 20, it's good luck getting by you. Or we can put them into investigate, so you actually have a high chance of succeeding on investigation checks to get clues and evidence.
So does nobody have a treatment right now?
No one is proficient in treatment, except for because it's an intellect based thing. The party's best person with treatment is Lynx, simply because she has a 10 intellect. So she's just raw skilling it with raw talent. So in order to match her, we need to spend at least 4 points to get your treatment to 10. In order to beat her, we need to put the extra last point in there to turn it to a 12. She's the closest the party has to someone with real skill in it, and it's all from her intellect. So there's no one really actually dedicating to being the party's physician.
I think I'm gonna take that because, not gonna lie, Lynx has a lot of other abilities that makes her very useful to the team.
So you want to take treatment?
Yeah, I'll take treatment. I'll worry about hiding in plain sight, when I can't actually do anything else.
Yeah. Well, it means any points from season 2 can be put in to adjust your stealth. But that means you now have all points spent, and you now have a treatment of 12. You do have now move by action, so you can do an attack as in a mixture of your move. So the fact that you move at you can levitate at 900 feet does help. you can now not only target more targets with your telekinesis, but you can now damage targets. So you can, instead of relying on something that actually has a mind for you to affect, Mind Render, which is also a name of a movie, you can now pretty much go, get over here. Well, because we're not actually going to be rolling, I'm just gonna, nope, just gonna go ahead and do this. So viewers can see that I actually have all 5 of you. But yeah, your combat role has expanded greatly. And you now have medical knowledge to help the party, which means when certain other party members start to have certain problems, you can actually have medical abilities, not necessarily knowledge in expertise in medicine, which can be picked up at a later date. But it means you now have this first-hand knowledge on how to make people feel better.
I'm looking at you, Darktide.
Yeah, with that, she could just run over and go, give me cover. We're not spending an entire combat with you unconscious again.
Yay, medic! Yay,
Yeah.
medic Ren.
Which means I can
you
just
need
do
to
that
put a
because
big
after
giant red
saved,
cross on your uniform.
I not only read minds, I help the body. Moving to next page, we have the mighty warrior. Dun dun dun.
First things first, my sword. Mine.
Calm yourself, mademoiselle. Due to the fact that you have the best attendance record for the entire season, you have the most points. Now, you also have to remember, note, because I have a side note, that 15 points for the sword, which has been identified as grass cutter.
Yes.
This magical katana does have wavy grass on it, etched on it, so it does look really cool.
So instead of Darktide, we can call him Lawnmower?
Yes.
No.
And because of this, there's the 15 points that are being gifted for its cost. It's technically adjusting its price, so you only have to pay 13 of it. Does 28 minus 15 is 13. So that's 13 points right there. And you also now get to know what the grass cutter can actually do. Things have to be adjusted for it because the base damage, not counting strength, is 14.
Okay.
There's currently with it, you have a plus 10 to hit and a 25 base damage. In order for its damage to naturally go any higher than what it is, your accuracy will suffer. So if you want to hit harder, less chances of hitting.
Right.
I don't recommend screwing with it, trying to screw with it, because you can use your advantages to do that.
Right.
So like your defensive attack or accurate attack or power attack or any of those can be used to technically augmented. Does it has a lot of the same stuff that your normal weapon has, with the exception that when you get higher power levels, the damage is just going to automatically adjust. Secondly, it does have penetrating 14 on it, which is 9 better than your normal sword, but that means when because you can only utilize 10 points of the damage right now, means that you're considered a the overall rating is considered 24 versus imperviousness, which means in order for someone to ignore your imperviousness, your sword, they have to have impervious of at least 50, which is highly improbable. Because if I go, oh, he ignores your attack as I stare at you, it means you're fighting at least a power level 25 individual.
Okay.
Which that also means I'm here to end the game by making you guys have an epic fight against someone you can't possibly beat.
Boo.
It has an effect called Second Effect. It means on the next turn after you successfully hit a target, it has to roll for damage again.
Good.
So it makes automatically 2 damage rolls. It also has a dynamic alternate effect that's resisted by fortitude, which because of your power level I have to make this adjustment here. It has the same to hit as the normal grass cutter. Well, not normal hit. It has it goes off the same to hit, because if you hit with the grass cutter, the affliction kicks off. Which is a DC 20, and it's considered progressive, which means if they fail once, they have to keep going until they pass. But here is the kicker. It starts with impaired, which gives it -2 on a lot of its die rolls. Then disabled, which then starts to affect its actual defenses, not just all its die roll. I mean, most of its die rolls, but practically all of its die rolls. If it fails by 3 degrees, it's considered dying, which means you now go on with the knowledge that if a target fails a fortitude save through, and he keeps failing a fortitude saver, it will eventually auto die. Meaning, if you're using this blade, you're going with the intent of putting the target 6 feet under. So you can technically say that the blade has you can call it not just lethal, but hyper lethal, because it's not designed to be your friend. It's designed to put people on the ground, whether you want to or not.
Yes,
so if you
well,
accidentally, so if you accidentally hit an ally, and they start failing their fortitudes, you have to look at them and then pray that Lynx, that, well, technically either two of them, because they both have nice modifiers. Either Lynx and or Ren show up to start trying to fix that injury. Otherwise, you just get to sit there and have the party member stare at you and go, I no longer like you.
Yeah, I
Because it's a
understand
wound that keeps on giving.
Yes.
Just gotta love that. But again, that's 13 points, so you still have a lot of points we can use to try to fix things. Because I know you're not going to want that. What advantages can you take to be actually more effective than what you already are?
The full attack.
Did you say what attack?
Multi-attack. Yeah, that's sort of like multi-pass, multi-attack.
Well, so in fact, that's not a trait you can take yourself. That's a trait you have to try to put on a weapon. Both your weapons technically are magical weapons as they're devices. But I would like to remind you that that's not a... Just like we went over with Ren, multi-attack isn't necessarily the most expensive add-on, but it does get real expensive real quick based on the rate. Let's double. That's flaws. I don't want flaws. I want multi-attack. That gets real expensive real quick. So if we put it on your normal magical sword, because it's technically the normal sword is a base rank 3, it'll only cost you 3 additional points. But if you make the grass cutter better with multi-attack, that's 14 points.
Oh.
So to have it on both weapons, it's going to cost you 17 points. My recommendation is, because if you're trying to mid-max damage without having to somewhat bone yourself in one way or another, there is improved critical. You can take it a bunch more times. We just have to verify where the additional ranks are going. For instance, you can take it 9 more times, put 4 of those into the normal sword, which will mean if you get a 16 or higher. Oh, let me double check that. Does 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. Yeah, sorry, no, it will be 15 or higher. If you get 15 or higher, it's a critical. I mean, consider it a critical hit if you still overall hit, which means plus 5 to damage. And then we can do the same for the grass cutter. So all you have to do is roll high enough, and you get the damage you want. Because you have to remember, multi-attack does let you swing against multiple targets with a cumulative -1 after the first. Or if you focus on one, it can get you more damage. But if you're focusing more on one, you're trying to get a better difference between what you get total on your attack and what they get on their defense. So it's one of those, you want to get high and you want them to get low, while improved critical is just get over a certain number with any given attack.
Yes, improved critical sounds much better.
So we can, as I pass it, just we can simply just toss that there, and oh, of course it doesn't want us to put it there, so I have to put those there. What are you, what? I have to put it somewhere else because it does not want me to put it there, so I'm going to put it here. Does the PDF wants to be silly? I'm going to circumvent it.
Is there a two-weapon fighting ability in DC?
Nope. The closest, the only way to technically try to do two-weapon fighting is technically nerfed, because all it lets you do is get multi-attack. That's it. You don't get two attack rolls, and you can't use two separate, totally different weapons when you do it. Meaning you can't use your unique weapon and the grass cutter to do it.
Okay.
And it's just simply multi-attack. So it's one of those, it sounds good, but then it just gets nerfed. But now you have improved critical 5 with both of them. Boom. Yeah, it would seem advantageous to do it, but DC doesn't have that. That's the closest you can get to two-weapon fighting, or any no. What are you doing, computer? Or anything like
so
that.
Nightwing's the only one that can actually do two-weapon fighting. Everybody else has to.
Well, it all it really does is give a multi-attack. That's it.
Yeah.
So even though it looks like two-weapon fighting, mimics two-weapon fighting, it's just one die roll to a first one person per normal multi-attack, or multiple swings. So it's just not actually worth it in the long run.
Is there a way to increase my accuracy?
Besides the like the accurate attack or that you have, or the defensive attack, you need to wait until your power level goes up. Because if you're trying to go for accuracy, your damage suffers. If you're trying to go for damage, your accuracy suffers. That's why if you end up with a balance, you're considered more well-rounded. Even though well-rounded may not seem like the best, but what it does, both short and long-term, is open things up for when you do go at a higher level, you can get those adjustments and just run with it. While other people are kind of just like, now I have to pay catch up to you because you already had it pretty even. It's one of the reasons why, like, Lynx has a +8 to hit, but a DC 27. Her attack is lower than yours, and that's a trade-off just to have a little bit more extra damage. But it's also why you also have the advantages to be able to counteract everything.
Can I increase my flight speed?
For 10 points, yes, we can put you to 10. Do you want to do that?
I do.
And that's cost a whopping 10 points. Voila. Other options for warriors as you boom that. Do you want to take the warrior ability of aquatic?
Might as well.
Well, I mean, it's you have 10 points left, so this will eat up your last 10 points.
Okay.
Because if we don't do that, we can use those points to rapidly adjust your skill points. So, better skills, aquatic abilities.
I need better skill.
Better skills.
I can pretend to be Aquaman later.
Okay, because those 10 points there, we boom. The stuff you've been not necessarily slacking on, but failing because the dice bot hates you. The dice bot hates you.
Repetitively, yes.
Um, we could use 5 of your remaining 10 points to turn your stealth from a 10 to a 20.
Sure. I'll be okay with getting the drop on people.
But that's...
Maybe then minions can't shoot me in the face.
You mean see you and shoot you in the face? That being said,
Yes.
let's also give you hide in plain sight.
Okay. All right, we'll agree to that.
Which leaves...
So is this hide in plain sight meaning I have to break line of sight, or I can just disappear from somebody's...
You can hide while being observed without the need for diversion. So it's literally...
Okay.
Literally, it's like, I'm gonna go hide now. If someone's going, I'm watching you, you can't. You can go, bye, and just fade away. You can Batman this.
Yes.
Okay, let's go ahead and put 2 points into perception.
I'm good with that.
Because now your perception is a 14. Good. Instead of a 10.
I need it.
You don't actually use intimidate or insight. The last 2 points I recommend either we put into investigate, so you can actually have a +5 instead of 1, or we put them into technology, so you can properly use tech devices.
Nope, that's what we have links for. I'll put it into investigate.
Which is your last of your points. So to recap from the very top, you now have Grass Cutter as a full-fledged option, which means if you want to pretty much bury your enemies, or if you lose your unique katana, you switch to it, so you can use your katana as a backup or it as a backup. Because the main difference is the affliction. To adjust to hits and damages, you'll be using the same formulas for the attributes. So that works. Your flight, I actually have to adjust. Because you now have a flight of 10. Which means as a single movement is now 4 miles. And you do 2,000 miles an hour.
Well, I mean, being able to go over 3/4 across the U.S. in an hour is much better than a airplane flight.
Pretty much, yeah. Then go as a single move action, moving up to 4 miles away is grand. We already went over how the Grass Cutter can now afflict and hurt things. You can now hide in plain sight. You now have a 14 perception, which is good. A 4 investigation, which is 5 times better than it was before. So it may not seem high, but you went from a 1 to a 5, so that's better than nothing.
You said 4.
Well, it went up by 4.
It is better than nothing.
Yeah. And your stealth is now a 20 instead of a 10. So you can now Batman your way out of situations, which is always good. So you are effectively hit save and hit boom are done. Which leads us to our very last hero before we round out today's episode of our favorite weapons master. Are you there, almighty Shiro? Shiro? Shiro wasn't there.
Yeah, I'm here.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm just tired.
Just bear with us for a little longer. This is now. Dun 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 dun. Your turn. And because this we can go over a few things because during this season several things have happened to your character. So before we get to spending your 29 points, you guys were fully able to discover the not so bad but not so good thing that happened to Shiro. Shiro is now part of the supernatural world. His captivity when he was captured by the spiders and the stuff they injected him with him turned him, well, pretty much, he now has the not so magical version, but more science version of lycanthropy, but for spiders.
Oh,
So he has a creep factor of being able to turn into a hybrid form between man and spider. No, this does not let him actually turn into a full-fledged spider, but it does let him turn into a cross between. He does get a wee bit bigger, and while in this form, even though it doesn't actually adjust his overall toughness because it requires other things to be lowered, he's considered a little bit harder to take down because he gets protection 4 and impervious 4, which means if it does 1 or less damage, he doesn't care. So it's not the best impervious, but it's still something. And he gains a bite that we're calling spider bite. That does get a +8 with a DC 23. It doesn't inject any poison or anything, but it does let him actually have a decent thing there. He has the advantage close attack and improved initiative. That's why he's been going a lot better in initiative than he was before. His intimidate and perception have gone up, so that's why he's better at spotting things. Not to mention the fact that he is somewhat stronger and tougher. Does his strength and stamina have improved across the board because of this new science-driven affliction. So you guys have a quasi wannabe spider person.
But does he shoot a web out his butt?
No, he doesn't have any web powers.
Oh.
Uh,
Okay.
so he's just going to scare people looking freaky.
Pretty much, yeah. The lycanthropy stuff for DC is not bad, but it's also not good. Because it gives you stuff, but not. It leaves some to be desired, but not enough to break a character. But we were going to go over a few things from last we actually talked to possibly make your character a wee bit better. The first thing was you wanted the device jetpack.
Yeah, jetpack.
it means you can now keep pace with the party. Unless certain party members want to leave you behind. Because you got the baseline model there, which eats that. Your revolver comes with multi-attack, and
Yep.
because of your package of to increase your potential damage, we can dive further into improved critical.
Okay.
Which, unfortunately, because of how this thing wants to be mean. So now your revolver will have a better crit range. And
I also wanted to get the upgraded version of regeneration, to where if I'm missing limbs or anything like that,
you
I
want to
can
augment
recover.
your healing factor?
Fast healing. Yeah.
Well, let me adjust things real quick because
I think it's 2 ranks to put into it, if I remember correctly.
well, we have to go to it because healing factor leeches off always regeneration, but fancy rewording. Regeneration. The baseline modifier is called persistent, which lets you regenerate, including damage conditions, which is still really good. We would have to go to, where are you? There is no add-on that lets you regenerate limbs.
It's in a regeneration. It's like right underneath it. It's called. Hold on, let me pull it up. Where is it? The hell. It's under regeneration.
Well, I'm looking at regeneration. There's no add-on for limbs.
If I miss limbs or something like that. Hold on.
Well, firstly, are you looking at the DC's Adventures Heroes Handbook?
No.
That's probably
It's called
the confusion.
persistent. Oh, yeah, it is called persistent. Sorry.
On persistent, it's you can regenerate even incurable damage.
I thought that
Regeneration
was
normally lets you regrow limbs, because that's why I call it regeneration.
Okay.
There's,
Well, I wanted to add the persistent to it as well.
well, we can add persistent. I love putting the wrong thing in the wrong spot. Which, that, makes it from a 1-for-1 to a 2-for-1, which adds 5 more points to how much your persistent costs. Adjust that here. Adjust that here, so you have 9 points left. Does that lets you recover from incurable attacks, which can be helpful. Technically, it can be be used to healing. Some of the healing stuff can be used to adjust regeneration. It says specific to what ones. Like, for instance, restorative, which helps against weakness. Energizing can help against fatigue and exhaustion.
Yeah.
Well, because it's going to cost, because you only have 9 points left, and it's going to cost 5 points just to, get one of them. Pick energizing or restorative.
What's restorative do?
It restores power points removed by weakness effects with the appropriate descriptors, such as injury, disease, or poison. So, for instance, if I say, hey, you've been weakened and you got like 5 points taken off your strength, your regeneration then immediately starts counteracting that on your turn.
Okay.
Okay, put that there. Okay, now your regeneration is a lot better because you don't care about incurable damage, and you can recover stat loss. Your revolver now, if you get a 10 or higher and still hit, you now get to add 5 to the damage. You can fly now, so that's going to help you get about and do stuff. Let's go down to skills. Well, we can still fix some of these. Let's go here. With your remaining 4 points, do you want to join the majority of the party with their ability to hide?
Yeah.
There's that 1 point there. which turns that into 3 left, which we go here. Which 3 turns into a 6, which turns into a 14. You now have a 19, 19 stealth, which means just like, darktide, there's a good chance that you're going to be able to hide from virtually anything.
Okay.
And with the hide in plain sight, you can hide while being observed. So that's going to help you there. And when it does, like I said, when it comes to combat, certain things you just ignore now because your regeneration is going to do it. Because you have to remember the incurable damage, even though it's not a common trait, it's something that can cripple a character. But now you don't care. Restorative means go ahead, lower my stats. I don't care. And like I said, your ability to actually do keep up on the damage rating with the rest of the party just drastically increased because now all you have to do is, again, get a 10 or higher and still hit, and voila. Enemies suffer! Which means boom. And you are effectively done. The entire party, in the grand scheme of things, is complete. My brain didn't want to work. Now to somewhat note, because you guys, because Blunt here has heard a lot. Why are you doing this to me, computer? Has pretty much heard your guys' things. You guys get to know some of his stuff. That during that maintenance thing, is when you guys were able to come across him and get him to join. There's him and his amazing battle suits. He can fly with his suit. It does have flight stuff. He comes with his own communicator built into it, so as long as he's wearing it, he can communicate with you guys. So when you guys came across him, it's more like he came across you because he has radar with his suit. So he's able to find you guys, and join you. He is capable at both melee and ranged combat. And he has similar skills to Gadget, as in he's expertise in engineering. He has a decent technology. His only real thing is he's not built for stealth. His jet boots kind of give him away. Unlike everyone else's who has.
Everybody can concentrate on him, and while I'm doing slice and dice.
Yeah. Well, it's the same
If
thing.
you stay conscious long enough.
Yeah.
Exactly. If the minion doesn't knock me out first.
Well, it's the same thing with the jetpacks that both Lynx and Shiro have. While those are active, it's kind of like, hey, look, there you are. Because, again, they're not quiet things. So they can't really stealth and fly at the same time. But it does mean while the enemy's distracted with those 3 flying, it'll help the other 2 stealth a little bit better. But again, he's competent in both ranged and melee combat. His suit is obviously built to protect, so he's not necessarily overly caring about being seen. Because, well, he just doesn't. So hopefully throughout season 2, you guys can find him and his mighty suits superbly good. But unfortunately, unless the party wants to separate, everyone's flying as fast as their slowest member, which means the party will be slowing down to the rank 5 flyers, regardless of how badly the party may or may not want to go that fast. On other notes, the party has to give the ultimate yes or no to the 5 potential NPCs to be aiding the party. The first one that's on the block, to be more officialized, as you guys get to know more about him, is Thief. So other than a person who also uses a battle suit to fight crime, is his battle suit is actually built for stealth. Because it has built-in silencer, so you can't actually audibly pick him up as he's moving about. It also gives him enhanced stealth abilities. He does use a machine gun mounted to the right arm, but that also can be switched to stun rounds, so he can actually incapacitate individuals, so he doesn't have to actually kill them. It does come with some sensory capabilities, similar to what Blunt has. His own communication system within his suit. He doesn't rely on flying, he relies on leaping, so he gets to leap everywhere, because it's a lot more stealthy. Because it's kind of hard to hear him coming if he's not jetpacking. Thanks to certain things, he is good with technology. Obviously, otherwise he wouldn't be using the suit. Oh, that's wrong. Okay. But you guys have to actually decide if you want a stealth-based, an actual stealth-based hero on the team. Because he is willing to aid and help the party. We're sorting back the last game sessions with 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for abstain.
Yes.
So it's officially there is 5 of you, which means in order for there to be a tiebreaker, it needs to be neck and neck. So going back to 1s, 2s, and abstaining, we can still use the 1s or 2s. So in the general text channel, if you want a stealth-based hero, type 1. This vote needs, because there's 3 of you, this vote needs at least a majority vote, because he's already here. This is step 2 in the process, and I have 3 people saying yes, which means that's a majority vote. Oh, hey, look, there's 4. That means, without a doubt, now you guys actually know a lot more about his capabilities, he stays. Next up is the Baker, the hero that does do stuff in normally in Hell's Kitchen. You guys got to this point, so you get to know more about him. You do know that he does fly, with a similar ability of Darktide. And Darktide can now actually keep pace with him now. Well, no, let me actually double check to see what we moved your speed to, because I saved and exited. Because I don't want to speak out my butt. Yeah, your when writing is now 10, yeah. Your flight is the same as his now, so you guys can fly together. You guys can also be able to get the fact that he does have a shield ability that not only makes him hard at taking damage, but it sustains him while it's active. He is extremely strong. And he does have a ranged attack where he can shoot lightning bolts. And he can note that he can go in outer space. So if you guys want, I need at least one more to say yes. A hero who can literally go in outer space. I need one more one. Well, I got a 41.
What?
Which, okay. That means
Keys at once.
the baker stays.
And he can make us bread.
That one's boom.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he does know how to cook. Next up, for number 3 out of the 4, is Pro Archer. You guys can note where you guys...
Needs a name change.
He doesn't want to go through a name change because he likes his name, because he's also a Pro Archer. He does have his own comm link, so device, so he's like, yay! You guys don't have to worry about giving me your own. He does have a real bow. And he does have 2 vehicles, a car and a bus, that he uses to do stuff with, which is odd. I mean, quite difficult to do stuff in the city, but it means the party does have access to land vehicles over there. He has the ability to create his own bow and arrows, but he also has the ability to create a kinetic bullet where he can flick at things, which is his primary attack form. Better at accuracy than damage, but still quite there. And this is the primary reason why I call him the Pro Archer, because he uses his kinetic bow to shoot his kinetic bullets at things.
Bullets or arrows?
Well, it's technically called kinetic bullet, but it can technically take the form of any ammunition he wants. So he just has it normally take the form of arrows. Weirdly specific name change. I mean, not name change, but name. But it can be any sort of ammunition he wants it to be.
Alright.
Well, we got one saying yes. I need at least 2 more ones.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
It's not that
It's a 13.
hard.
Wow.
It is.
Last but not least is Daredevil. I will state this now. He has no correlation to the Marvel character Daredevil at all.
Right.
He's an ex race car driver who, if memory serves for you guys, due to his power of power manifesting and pretty much teleporting his car through a wreckage, got him disqualified from racing. He's been trying to be a good guy, but when his powers actually activate, he unfortunately takes on the form of a shadow, making him look like a shadow monster. He also has the ability to summon a shadow monster. You better not be voting before I'm done. I hate you all. He
Sorry.
states that everything seems a wee bit slow for him. Everything seems like it moves slower. And while he's in his shadow form, he says, "Don't touch me. It's nothing personal. It's just I don't want you to be. I don't want to accidentally drain your life."
Oh.
It also grants him the ability to channel that to target creatures. No, it doesn't have to be a living creature. Creature for the blast to take effect. It's just more effective against living things. He also says that as long as he considers you a friend, whenever he summons his shadow summon, it won't harm you, as long as you also remember not to try to harm it.
What's his name again?
He goes by Daredevil. It's my old racing name.
Okay.
It also means he has technically a public, the public technically knows that he has powers, so he doesn't even try to hide his identity because it's too late for that. And it looks like Shiro and Lynx wants Daredevil to be part of the group. I need at minimum one more person to say yes to Daredevil. Is Darktide, Ren, or Blunt going to cast their vote? We got a majority vote. He is happy he gets to finally be part of a team again. So yeah, he's super excited. He also states that if you guys ever need to try to get anywhere relatively quickly, he will do his best to get you guys there.
Now, can he teleport other people or just him in his car?
He looks at you, somewhat smiles, and the entire group is suddenly 900 feet away.
Okay, that answers that question.
He's like, I can effectively affect a relatively large area. Unfortunately, anything in that area is moving with me, including bad guys.
That could be very helpful.
Good.
Yeah. Also, it has to be stuff I can actually move. If I cannot physically move it, it's not going anywhere.
Oh, so like if you
building.
Yeah, so I can't teleport a building,
So-
but I can move a car.
Okay.
I can move all of you. It's like I can move a car because like I just make sure it's in neutral and I can move it. If it weighs too much, then I can't move it.
What type of limit does he have? Does he know?
He goes, to things I can physically move. He goes, literally, things I can physically move. So I can move a
Okay.
car as long as it's in neutral. Or if I'm technically driving it. But if you want me to move a
Still,
boat or a building, I'm going to look at you funny. Because I can't move those things.
they still wouldn't let you race, even though the driving and the car could disappear and come out somewhere else. That's not
They
fair.
immediately disqualified me because the ability to spontaneously move my vehicle from anywhere in position to in the lead, they consider cheating
Mm.
and a extreme
But
unfair advantage.
so they disqualified you because you have a because of something that was not under your control. Now they won't let you race because you might do it.
Yeah, it's the perception that at any moment I could decide to use it to win the race.
Yeah, that's discrimination.
Not
That
really. So in fact, people have been disqualified for literally doing that, using
Mm-hmm.
technology, magic,
go,
other
but
people.
they have no proof that you're going to until you actually do it on
The
purpose.
the rules do not care if you have any form of teleportation. Well, it's actually more precise. If you have the teleportation ability to move your car from anywhere on the track to anywhere else on the track, you're automatically disqualified from all races. So the sheer fact that I can move my car with my teleportation falls under that. Therefore, I cannot race. Due to A, I can use it to cheat, and B, it's considered an extreme unfair advantage because in order for me to be able to race, everyone has to be able to do the same thing. So everyone needs to be able to teleport, which then also defeats the purpose of the race if I'm teleporting, because then it's not a race.
Mm-hmm. True.
So it just ruins the entire sport. So as much as I want to go, don't hate on me, don't hate while I want to or not, it's boom. It also doesn't help the fact that it initially triggered when I went to go wreck. There was a multi-car pileup and I was about to run into it. Yeah, it saved me, but it let me win the race simply because a misfortune happened that I can completely and totally circumvent, which puts me on a different playing field than everyone else. It's kind of like you can fly really fast. If me and you were to have a race, my teleportation is great and all, but it's limited on how far I can do it and how quickly I can do it, which means you're going to win simply because you can move faster than I can. So, is that fair for me? No.
Oh.
If I were to have a swim
Well,
with the swim race with that boat can go faster than I can. Unfair advantage. Not to mention the fact that if I mess up on the teleportation, I end up in something. So trying to race through
No,
the
he's not.
city becomes me now limited to try to go from rooftop to rooftop to rooftop to rooftop to rooftop to rooftop, while you just get to fly all over. Unfair advantage. A Wajatov.
Watch out. Okay.
Now, if we were to have a foot race, not using any powers, now that's fair for the both of us. But the moment you start throwing other stuff in it, it's unless we can do the same exact thing, unfair advantage. But I'm happy to be part of a team again.
I'm glad to know you. Yeah, it's good for me to be a part of a team. I haven't been one since Slow Lake.
Being part of a team is fun. It's amazing. It's super fantastic.
Yeah.
Which, at this particular note, because of we're actually at our normal ending time. We're past it by like 15 minutes. Anyways, we will be ending today's session here with the introduction of a new and highly potential individual. Yay for Blunt.
Yeah.
We may be workshopping the name a little bit because I kind of realized what it kind of sounds like we're implying.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, we may need to do changes. You said it.
We'll workshop it.
Okay.
So we
Say
probably
that one more time. I didn't catch it.
We're going to be
They may be-
workshopping his name because his current name we went with is Blunt. So I don't want to
Okay.
miscue or mislead anyone by thinking we're going a certain way. So we'll workshop it. So hopefully by next game, we'll have a better name.
Okay.
Um.
Hopefully, one I can remember.
Well, don't worry. It will be changed there so we can all see it. There's also the somewhat moving on. Wow, my brain just did really stop working there for a moment. We got several new NPCs to do stuff in the background, so that way the party doesn't feel 100% overwhelmed by trying to deal with or take care of particular Narduels. So we have that going for us. Everyone's now fully caught up and fully adjusted to help for both combat and non-combat related duties. So for the audience watching and to see us, thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. See you next time on Nightmares of Future Past.